Now the game does come with a well put together rulebook, and it also has this big double-sided reference guide for. There's only one of them, but it has a lot of information, so that's good to know. Now I can actually show you right here. This shows the actions, what your actions are. You can do hide, move, search, confront, discover, clear, rest, market, regale. Those are the actions you can do on a turn, and we'll see probably the majority of those. But what I'm going to do to start is I'm going to look at where I am and what I need. So here we are in the center, which is always Sprawl City. And that's where you can do that market action, which is your ability to get a few things um, by spending some money. But it's also where we start. And we know that we want to find the mountain, plains, and enemy keywords. So what we would like to do is find those types of locations. Enemies can come from anywhere, but the location types are very obvious. Now I see that we have a mountain and a plain right here, one right next to the other. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend one action and move one space. Now, when you encounter a new space, or when you move on to a new space, you must draw one of these cards, these encounter cards. This one is called Find Cure, and it's a quest. And if we were pious right now, this weakness would mean that we could completely bypass the requirements on this card. But we are not pious. We are martial. Um, that's a movie. And the herbs to cure the local lass's affliction lie somewhere in these very mountains. So this goes right onto this card and it stays there. And we can potentially achieve the rewards of this. We don't actually need a quest based on the requirements of our saga chapter, but I think we want to do this anyway. If it's not an enemy, we don't encounter it automatically. We have to spend another action point and choose to encounter it in this case, which I'm going to do. So now we compare these values to our abilities. Now we have a 3 in study, and we need to get one success in study. Or we have a 3 in influence, and we would need to get 3 successes in influence. So I'm going to go for the study. We're going to roll 3 dice, and that's for our 3 study. These are beautiful dice, by the way. They're nice, marbled, heavy with rounded corners. And we need a 5 or a 6. And there we go. We got 2 successes. So therefore, we have completed this quest. And now, we'll take a look at it. We'll see what happens here on this quest card. So whenever you complete an encounter like that, there are 2 things. One is we can either take this number of gold, or we can not take that number of gold and instead draw from the loot bag here. And this is not the bag that came with the game. This is a better bag. It's bigger and my hand fits in it. The Gloom of Kilforth bag is a nice black velvet, but it's a little small. So what I'm going to do is pull this out, and we got a scroll. This will allow us to discard this chit to get an additional study for one test in the future. So that's good to have. I think that was better than the coin. Now the second thing is we can either take this into our hand, or we can exchange it for this type of reward, and that's a spell. That icon matches the spell icon. I think we're going to hold on to it because this is a mountain card, and we do need a mountain card. Plus, I don't know that we're necessarily going to get a spell that we can use, because some of them require 4 study, and we only have 3. A lot of them do require 3, but I think at this point it's nice to have that mountain card. So we have 2 more actions, Next thing I think we're going to do again is move again, this time down into the open heath, this plains area. And we do the same thing. We draw a plains card, and this time we found a place. And this place is a remote town. Out here at the last bastion, their only defenses are courage, prayer, and high walls. So this remote town is a place, a respite, and it's in the plains. And particularly, this one gives us a special bonus. This trophy keyword means that when we complete this task, we'll get to do that trophy or get that trophy, whatever it is. In this case, it's an action. We get to do that action for free. And that's pretty cool. We will also get either a coin or a loot and a title, or keep the card as a rumor. So I'm going to just put this back down, and we're going to talk about whether we want to do this or not. So down here we have requirements of either a 4 study or a 3 sneak. In these cases, you can choose which one you'd rather do. I only have 3 dice for study, and I only have 2 dice for sneak. So in either case, I have to get 1 more than the amount of dice that I have. And now for all of these different tests, you can take multiple actions in a round, a day, and build up until you're successful. However, at the end of the day, all your successes would be cleared. So unless I manage to somehow get 4 successes on 3 dice, I wouldn't be successful here. So my other option would be to try to move to a different location. So I think I could try to do that. Why not? We see another plains right next to us. So I'm going to just do another plains action, and boom. We've moved over, and the reason I do this is because there's a chance if we get the right card, we'll encounter it immediately. It's kind of a testing my luck thing, and it didn't work out because we got another place, but this might be, who knows, this might be easier. So this is an abode in the plains, and we can rest here. Oh, so if we don't complete this and just leave it on the map, we can perform our rest actions there. Footsteps echo within the holy pillars, where quiet voices from ages past whisper soft chants and flowing incantations from the shadows. Serenity pervades here. But this is a super easy sort of thing to pass here. We only have 1 requirement in our sneak check, so I think we can just go for that next round. But because we've run out of tokens here, we move on to the night phase. So what we do in the night phase is first we would lose a hit point if we were at a location that was in Gloom. There are no locations in Gloom, so we'll draw and resolve our first night card. And oh my goodness, this orc assassin looks so handsome. What he's going to do is he's going to discard a stranger from play, which is pretty cool because there are no strangers in play. But what happens here is the endless brackens fall into Gloom. So what we do is we look around, we try to find where that is, and this always takes me way longer than I think it should. It's this place right here. It flips over, and now we see that there's that -1, and that's to remind us that if we end the day there, it's going to cost us 1 hit point. Okay, so that was not a mountain location, because if you remember, the Marquis of Pain will add a plot card if a mountain location falls into Gloom. So we're safe there. So that's really the end of the night phase for us this time. So now we would go back to the dawn of the next day, and we'll get back all of our AP. And I like to just stick them right back on top of my hit points, which is a little fiddly to do. You don't have to, but it's a good way to sort of track what you have there. So now we have our 4 AP back. We can go right ahead, and the first thing we might want to do is encounter that place, because why not? We have 2 dice for sneak, and it only requires 1. I like doing it whenever we're sort of ahead in the ratio. And we've done it. We've gotten 2 successes when we only need 1. And I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, successes are on a 5 or a 6. I think I did, but just to reiterate. So now we take this holy church. We can either take the 1 coin, or we can go hunting in the bag, which I think I'd like to do. For 1 coin, maybe we'll get lucky. And what I got here was a map. So the map lets us relocate to any Badlands location on the entire world of Kilforth. So that's super cool. And then the second thing we can do is we can either keep this Plains card here or take a title. And I think we've already seen what it looks like to hold on to a card as a rumor. So I think I'm going to just discard this and take a title just so we see what happens when you do that. So a title card is over here, which you can see in the out of focus area, but I'm going to show you. We're going to take this Doom Guardian. This is a villain. This makes us a villain. Any alliance with the lethal and fathomless Doomguard is fraught with potential for danger and betrayal, but to reject their overtures would invite only death. So this is pretty cool. This is a potential title that we can get for ourselves that'll give us a permanent bonus to our study skill. For now, any card like this goes into our hand as a rumor, and when we get to the open heath and we perform a discover action, we can then claim this as an asset or as our title. So we will become a Doom Guardian, and it will be what order we have joined. That's a special keyword. So that's pretty cool, because I don't know if you remember, but the open heath is literally right next door. Holy moly, that's pretty cool. So what we can do is now go ahead and move back into the open heath, because why not get this bonus? It's a nice sort of engine building thing. It's going to give us more study for future actions. So we moved in. There is an encounter card already there, so we don't automatically flip one. And so we're here now at the open heath. We've heard that we could join the Doom Guard at the open heath. So we go searching around, and we're going to try to discover this. And that's pretty simple. We just use an action, and we now have found the Doom Guard, and we've become Doom Guardians. That's a discover. It's just moving. This would be our hand of rumors. It's moving a card from your hand into the asset area of your play area at the location specified. And I think that's really cool, because it lends this narrative feel to the game. We get the card over here, and it says, oh, if you go to this, it's like you've encountered an NPC in a video game where they say, hey, if you go to Kakariko Village and talk to whoever, you can get the boomerang, something like that. And I think that's pretty cool. So we've just come across a story point, gone to where we knew we could fulfill that story point, and gained a reward from it. Now we have our bonus of 1 plus 1 study. And here we are back in the same place we were before, the open heath. And we only have our 1 action left, and I know for sure we can't succeed on the remote town. So I'm gonna say let's jump right back over to the Windy Valley. I mean, it's kind of like sort of spamming the game, but we'll see what happens. Oh, another quest. Look at that. But the reason this is good is because that last one was a Plains card, and we took it as a title instead of keeping it as the plains card that we need for our saga. So here we have a quest out in the Windy Valley. To restore the farm, we have to assist these people. Raiders have destroyed the Owen farmstead, leaving only back-breaking work and heart-breaking struggle in their wake. So we can help them with our study skill or with our influence skill. So let's plan to do that. But as you know, it is now nighttime. We take our next night card. We did not finish in a gloom location, so that's good. So this is what happens. This is a weather card. This is a special sort of night card. And what this does is it stays in play until the next weather card is revealed. And in this case, we are placing one obstacle at each location for each place card it has. And whenever a new place card enters play, we place an obstacle there. And the verdant fields are falling into gloom. So I'm just going to put this down off screen, and I will remember that that is the situation. Now, we already know that we have a place. Boom. So this place has an obstacle. And what that does for us, not for us, but against us, is it makes us waste an action before we can go and encounter that. Because we're going to have to do a clear action for every single obstacle on a location before we can encounter that location. So that's not great. But, like I said earlier, there's nothing else that is problematic about that card, where we didn't end in a gloom location. These verdant fields will become gloomy. They are not a mountain, so the Marquis of Pain doesn't bring out a plot card. I've already restored these because the camera did a funny thing, but now we're back to the beginning of the next day. And I think we're just going to try to restore that farm. Like I said earlier, we can either do 4 dice, because we have our 3 study based on our race, and our 1 study based on our order. And all we need to do is get 1, and I'm pretty confident in that. Oh, but we failed. I'm sorry, I blew your ears out. So that's a failure. We're going to have to do that again. I can't believe it. Now, in this case, we also start with these fate tokens. We have 4 of these. And at any point, we can use 1 fate or discard 1 rumor card in order to increase our successes on any given test. But instead, I'm just going to roll this again. Thank goodness. There is a variant to this game to make it a little bit easier, where successes are 4s, 5s, and 6s as well. But we're just going to do the 5s and 6s, because why not? I will be playing with a different variant to show you in this run through. It's in the rule book as another option. Okay, so we've restored the farm. What can we do? We can either take 1 gold or go in the loot bag, and we can either take this card or grab a spell. I'm going to keep the card, so now we have that, and let's hunt in the loot bag. Oh yeah. Now there's some bad stuff in here too, and there's some nothing in here too. So let's just make sure we don't get that. Oh, that's the back. A tent. Gain 1 rest AP. So resting is another action we can do if we're ever injured. If we lose hit points, we can rest, which uses 1 AP, but gains us back a health point or hit point. And that's good for the following day because it will allow us to do more actions. Okay. I'm not going to try to do this. I mean, we could let's walk up to a different area. We'll go right here. Spine Ridge Pass. So Spine Ridge Pass is a mountain. There's nothing there, so we encounter it. Oh, and here it is. We found our first enemy. This is going to be our first combat with a hobgoblin. Okay, so he's a humanoid enemy from the mountains, and he has a weakness of shadow. We have martial as our keyword, and It says the goblin's mountain cousins are more powerful but slower than their smaller brethren. If we beat him, we get a coin and an item. But he's got a power of 3 here, a fight skill of 3, and a sneak value of 1, which doesn't matter to us. So one other action you can do is you can go into hidden mode. It's just called hide. The action is to hide. And then when you go into a location, if an enemy pops up, you are hidden and you're not automatically attacked, and you have the option to use your sneak ability against that sneak stat that I just pointed out. In our case, however, this enemy gets the drop on us. So what we do is, if I had 2 different colored dice, it would be nice. I can actually grab some of these. So he's got a skill of 3, but since we were not hidden, he gets the drop on us. And he's going to roll +1. So he has 4, and we have 5, because we have 3 plus 2, just our base number. We can roll all of these together. I don't know if this box is big enough. And this is what happens. So he hits us for 1, misses for these 3, and we hit him for 4, which, hot damn, this is better than I've ever done before. We did have that little snafu with restoring the farm, but in this case, we've defeated the hobgoblin. So this hobgoblin had 4 health, and we took it right out. So what we get now is either we get to keep the card or get it as a treasure, and either we get 1 coin or we go in the loot bag. Let's abandon the coin and abandon the card. So first, we'll go hunting in the loot bag. Here we go. Huzzah! And what did we get?